Welcome to My Transplant Story. Each episode, we sit down with a living donor or a kidney transplant recipient to hear about their story. My name is Liz Lusk, and today we are joined by Tanya. Hi, Tanya, how are you?
I'm great, Liz. How are you
I'm doing
doing?
well. Thank you so much for speaking with me today and for everyone tuning in. If you have any questions, please write those in the comments or type those in the comments. And if you have a transplant story and would like to share it with us, please go to kidney.org/share your story. You never know, you might be the next one on one of these episodes. Okay, so let's get started. Tanya, I'm so excited to be here with you today, as I said. Tell me a little bit about yourself and if you are a recipient or a donor.
So I'm based out of the DC area now. I grew up in Ohio and was originally born in the Congo. And I was a donor as of August 13th, 2014, so about 9 years ago.
What made you decide to donate your kidney?
It was for my father. So he was having some health issues. And as a result of that, the transplant center at Ohio State told him that he was a good recipient for the kidney transplant. And so both my sister and I went and saw if we could go and do it. And it was just a no-brainer. It's just like when you have someone you love who's going through a tough time, you do whatever you can to help them out. So that's what happened in this case. And then in this instance, they decided to go with my kidney over my sister's.
Oh my gosh, a little sibling rivalry there. Was she a little upset? Was she
Oh, yeah.
excited? Yeah. No, I wanted to give my kidney to that. No, I wanted to.
Exactly.
I get it. I have a sister. So,
Yeah, exactly.
um, did,
So, competition everywhere, even in
right,
organs.
right, exactly, exactly. I want the scar. No. So,
Exactly.
did you have any concerns before you donated?
Um, I'm sure I did, but I think I just made sure to focus more on what the end result was as opposed to the process because at that time I didn't, when we first heard about it, all I knew about kidney transplants, it was like the old school way where they, open your whole back and it's a long process and everything like that. And then I just wasn't sure how the surgery would go because I had never had, gone under for surgery before and everything like that. So I think I was just more nervous about the surgery and then also nervous about making sure that it would be well received, right? Because you also hear stories about rejection. So those were the main concerns, but I didn't let it overwhelm me and try to just focus on what the end result would
Oh
be
my gosh, I cannot thank you enough for
for
being
that.
being a living kidney donor, especially to your father. But such an amazing gift that you were able to give. Was there anything that you needed to do to be eligible? Any testing you had to go through, or blood draws you had to have?
Man, yeah, so many because at the time I was actually living in New York City, and then my parents are here in Ohio, and so I had to do all of my, and it was actually a paired exchange too, in addition. So I had to do a lot of blood work, so much blood work, just to make sure that they could find all the everything that make sure everything is going well. And I remember one day it was like 15 tubes and I was like walking through New York like a zombie with it. But well, that was like an extreme case because it would have been a very big chain for that one. That one would have been like a 32 pair chain. So that's why I think I had to give so many because they had to send it to all the different centers throughout the states. And then the EKG test and uh, CAT scan just so they could get a view of what your organs are like and which kidney that they want to go with. Because I think they typically go with the I think the left kidney, I think, and then the right kidney is the one that they keep because I try to remember where my scars are. So there was that, and I think just overall health exam, blood pressure, and then you have to make sure you stay on top of your preventive maintenance, is like a well woman visit, make sure everything is good in that sense. So, but like, yeah, so it's a good amount of testing that needed to be done. But I think with seeing all the tests, it helped me feel better about living donation because it's like you really do get the best match with the living donation as opposed to like the other option.
Yes.
So But went through it, learned a lot about my body. Didn't want to learn, but now I know.
I know, right? It's exciting. It's you get all these great tests, and I think one of the questions that a
Yeah.
lot of people are going to have, especially if they're looking into living donation, with all of those medical tests, with everything that you did, how much did you pay? Did
Hmm.
you have to pay for all these?
Zero $0 and zero
It's
cents.
amazing. It's amazing. It's
Free
amazing.
free
Yeah, I
99.
love
Yeah.
it. I love it. So tell me more about your parent exchange and how did that come about?
Um, yeah, because my blood type, I have a different blood type, right? My blood type is A, so it's different than my father's blood type. So then, thankfully, Ohio State Medical Center is, I think, part of the National Donor Registry. So they work with the different transplant centers throughout the United States, I believe. I don't think it's gone to other parts of North America yet. And they work with all the different transplant centers to help more people get kidneys. So for this chain, like I said, the first chain I thought was really going to happen was the 30 or 32 people, so it'd be 16 pairs on that chain.
Amazing.
And that one, yeah, but like one of the I think one or a couple people on that chain, it didn't work for one reason or another. So then the next, like I think a couple weeks after that, I received a call that there's another possible 7 pair chain that I could be a part of. So that's what ended up happening. I was part of the 7 pair chain, and it's just fun to, I mean, it's a cool thing to know that like being part of helping 7 people to get better quality of life at the end of the day. And then like on the day of the surgery, I think I was up early and mine went to one state and then another came from here. It's like just amazing the logistics that go into it for the all the transplant centers that put it together and everything goes smoothly and you don't even know and the nephrologists and the surgeons just it's like an orchestra. I don't know how they do it, but it's great.
Oh my gosh. So was there anything
Mhm.
that's changed in your life since donating one of your kidneys, since now living with one kidney?
Um, Physically, not in the long term. Short term, you have the soreness in the lower abdomen region, but long term, nothing physically. I think one thing culturally I had struggled with during the process and even afterwards is in Congolese culture, and I think a lot of other cultures, highly traditional cultures, you don't really speak about health issues. Everybody stays hush hush about it, don't talk about it. So I had a tough time with that because that's something you don't talk about. But like, it took me some time. It took me like at least 7 years after the surgery to finally start to speak up because I'm like, it will save people's life. We've had a lot of people lose their lives because nobody wants to talk about organ issues like it's a personal failure, and it's not. It's actually just the way your body is set up and it's out of your control. Like it could be like having a headache all the time, as it's just like your body has different things. And I just realized like I have to start to speak up more, not just as an African person, but even just like a black person living in America too, because our community has higher cases of kidney disease. And like, so it's just speaking up and showing like I donated a kidney and I'm still walking and strong and everything is good. And then my dad is good, and it's like improves the quality of life so people don't have to stay on dialysis or have a lower quality of life because they're going through end stage renal disease. So I feel like I think overall, to answer your question, is just more purpose. I feel even more purpose driven in life that I can help out. And NKF is doing such amazing work with advocacy in Congress, and then in general too, just adding education about kidney disease. And as an event planner, I try to do my piece, like to make sure in dietary restrictions to add questions about potassium and things like that, to keep that in mind when choosing menus for events, just in case.
Absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Well, thank you so much for using
Mhm.
your voice. Thank you for sharing your spare. That's a huge big deal. And then just getting it out there. So I'm sure the last 7 years you wrestled with that, as you just said, and so thank you
Yeah. Yeah.
for doing this today. Now people will know you. Now people will know that you've given your kidney.
Uh,
So a paired exchange. Do you
yeah.
know where your dad's kidney
hmm
came from, or what state yours went to?
I think mine went to Massachusetts, and I think his went came from Wisconsin because I think it was stuck in
No,
traffic on the day. It was a little stuck in traffic, but then it made
you don't really think
it.
about that. Well, that's a different discussion on transplantation, transportation, but still amazing, like you said, that it can all get there and
hmm
work. So,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
advice would you?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, what advice would you give to someone thinking about being a living donor?
I would just say, it's a big decision to make, but at the end of the day, it's a worthwhile decision because uh, just go with it with an open mind and aware of just how it's going to change your life, but it's really worthwhile in the end. And I'm glad to hear there's like a lot more people who are also doing non-directed living kidney donation because that those people are so amazing. Because I remember when I was in my recovery, the young lady who was in the room with me, she just gave to somebody because her dog had kidney issues, and since she couldn't give to her dog, she just decided, like in honor of him, to just give to a stranger. And it's like I think one thing, like nowadays the surgery is laparoscopic, so it's not like the whole big issue, like it used to be that probably took people out for months at a time. They all I can't speak for all transplant centers, but it seems like across the board most transplant centers want to make sure that you're not left worse off than you were before the surgery. So they provide you with tools from head to toe. They provide you with a psychologist who speaks with you to make sure that you're aware of the decision you're making and that you're accepting of the decision. They, cardio, everything, like head to toe, really, they look out for you. And then there's also resources following the surgery. So just be aware it's a big decision, but you will be taken care of through the process. It's free, like we mentioned earlier, and you already have a spare. And then on top of that, it's just a great feeling in life afterwards. It's really worth
Oh
it.
my gosh, Tanya, well, your story has been amazing, and I'm sure it's going to influence a bunch more people. Hopefully, it will influence,
I hope
especially what.
so.
Yes,
Hopefully. Yeah.
yes, especially what you talked about. The costs. I know a lot of people are probably nervous about that, but it's not cost prohibitive. It's
Mhm.
free for donors. Do you know how long?
Exactly.
Do you remember how long you had to take off work, or how long you chose to take off work?
Mm, I took 1 month off because only because I lived in New York City and everything happened here in
Oh,
Ohio,
yes.
and so I think you have a check-in 2 weeks and then 1 month after the surgery. So that's why I took the 1 month off of work, like a couple vacation weeks and then 2 short-term disability weeks. And then thankfully at the time I work at United Hospital Fund in New York City, and my manager was so supportive, and she had been an ongoing donor of National Kidney Foundation, and her mom had gone through kidney disease herself, and she even beforehand provided me with resources of another man, Rick Antosh, who had also donated his kidney to his wife in the 80s. And it's just like it was a unique experience for me because I was so supported. And then, like, during the surgery, my everybody at the company sent me Zabars and all those delicious Junior's cheesecake from New York City for my
I love
recovery.
that.
So yeah, so it was a unique experience, but I think that's the good thing too about like the advocacy that NKF is doing for the Living Donor Protection Act,
Yes,
because I think other people should also have that experience. When you're donating a kidney, I don't think you should be dinged for it at work, right? You should
absolutely.
be like supported at work and not financially worse off than you were for donating your kidney. But
Absolutely.
I think a lot of states have already passed that, which is pretty good to hear. So that's another bonus for living donors is you'll be protect or you will be protected, and you won't have any life insurance issues for donating a kidney. So
Yes. Well, yeah. So there's our plug for
yeah.
LDPA, Living Donor Protection Act. So all of the federal congressmen that are on watching us right now, or your aides, go ahead and support that bill. It's a great one. Tanya's a big fan, as I am. So well, thank you so
Yes.
much for sharing your story with us, and thank you to everyone watching.
Yeah, thanks. It was so
Yes,
great chatting with
yes,
you.
it was awesome. Well, I'm Liz Lusk, and on behalf of the National Kidney Foundation, we wish you good health. We'll see everyone next time.
Bye bye. Love your kidneys.